It's Pu'erh collection building time, ladies and gentlemen. So this episode we are doing building out your Pu'erh with about 4 or 5 cakes, 3 or 5 cakes, 3 to 4, something like that.
Yeah.
For $500 or so.
Yep. So that's we're looking at like $100, $125 per cake. So kind of a mid-range thing.
Yeah, totally.
And yeah, this budget kind of puts you kind of in this tweener zone where you can get sort of the better versions of the teas we talked about last time, rather than get like a 2007 Dye 754. You might be able to get like a slightly earlier year, that sort of thing. But it doesn't quite put you into like kind of like the really fancy cakes.
Right. And stepping back, one of the differences is going to be between these years is going to be drinkability, right?
Sure.
And so for some of these Shagwan teas or Shagwan teas or like teas that are now becoming into more of the semi-aged flavor profile, suddenly you might notice that they're going from this needs more time to this is a bit more ready now.
Sure.
Yeah.
And the challenge with this is I'm trying not to choose teas that are like strictly ready now. I want teas that have more upside and more potential.
Right.
Because the goal is to kind of transform the teas and have them improve in the actual Pu'erh.
And you might also find out that you're getting more value from that because you are incurring the costs of aging the tea yourself, if you will.
Sure.
So it might not be ready today necessarily, but yeah. So what do we got?
Yeah, so real quickly, I did want to show people Chentong, where we were unable to search for 7542 and 8582 last time. So here you could see, here's your kind of range that you're looking at. 2009, 243, so that's like $35. And that tends to be kind of like the price range. I mean, even this 2006, which is about as old as you can go on some of these sites, 383 RMB. So, I mean, real quickly, we can punch that in. That is about $52.
Really reasonable.
So definitely fit more into last episode rather than this one. But I think the kind of those classic recipes are ones that people should seriously consider aging.
Yeah.
Okay, so next up we have kind of what I was talking about. We have kind of the next level up of teas. So we have the 2015 Purple Dye. So this one you can get on Taobao for still about $80.
Nice.
So this is considered kind of like a special production. So it's like one they don't make every year. So this one's from 2015. This has been sold by some other Western vendors for quite a bit more than this amount of money. So this is a pretty good deal in the scheme of things. And 10 years old is, you're mid-age, but you definitely have some room to improve.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
And we're still kind of doing factory at this point in terms of the pricing point, right?
Correct, yeah. So that's definitely like Dye. Shagwan at this point, we've almost aged out of that because the Shagwan you would buy at this range is very drinkable already.
Right.
So next up, 2012 Silver Dye. Kind of the same thing. This is a once-off production. Both this and the Purple Dye have early versions from 10 years before that sell for very high price points.
Nice.
This one's over $100. 2012 Silver Dye. You get the
beautiful
the advertisements here. Have not tried this tea, so I can't personally vouch for stuff like this, but it's like if you were looking for dye in that price range, that's about what you'd end up with.
Nice.
We also have the 2006 Nanqiao Double Lion. So Bulong, as I talked about last episode, kind of a good area to target. It's just very punchy. So the classic version of the Double Lions that everyone talks about is the 2005, which is quite a bit more expensive. We'll talk about that in the next episode. But the 2006, which we've actually featured on the show, is a good, strong Bulong profile. Teas We Like puts it here. So this sells for $165, so it's a little bit high. You can find versions on Taobao that are a little bit less. They probably don't have quite as good of storage as the Teas We Like version.
Sure, nice, yeah, and it's middle-aged storage.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So, just strong, punchy. You could certainly drink and enjoy something like that now, but it definitely has some room to improve.
Right.
And then under $100, you have stuff like the 2006 Dye 8582 and 2006 Dye 7542. So kind of what I was talking about, earlier versions of those recipes.
Classic.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's about what I'd target here. So again, not totally different from the last episode.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, fantastic. It's, again, hard for me to sort of not think of classic recipes when I think of buying Pu'erh at this point, still because I'm fairly, frankly, still pretty new. I'm not nearly as, single shop buyer kind of a guy. It's interesting because to your point, it's almost one of those, do I want to just kind of go for it and get the stuff that's a bit more expensive? What'd you say of the ones that we have on the list?
Sure.
which ones would you think would be kind of ranking them from ready to drink now versus needs much more age? How would you kind of go through the 5 or so that you have?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think you could pretty much do inverse age here. The probably the most ready to drink is going to be the 2006 Dye 8582.
Yep.
I think the non-chow double lines is pretty enjoyable now as well. The 7542, I've always found that 7542 needs a bit more time than 8582. So that one, again, it does depend on the storage, and those dye, it will depend a lot on the storage.
Okay.
I would think the purple dye probably needs the most time.
Yeah.
I've had that tea, and I personally wouldn't like to drink it right now.
Yeah, okay.
So that's one, if I owned it, I would definitely store it away and not drink it much. And the silver dye, I've not had. I've heard mixed reviews on it, but it's probably more in the purple dye camp where you might want to store it away for another 5-10 years.
Yeah, makes sense. So kind of, as a heuristic for folks out there watching too, it basically age versus drinkability. Obviously, storage conditions are going to vary. With wetter, more humid places having a bit more acceleration on the profile, but nevertheless, you can kind of just think of it in terms of the age of the tea. So we're kind of maybe next episode going to be getting into some teas that are going to be ready to drink. Still, of course, are going to do well to be stored and aged, but that might be ready to drink nearer term.
And we'll definitely get into some more interesting options, just because like when you are going up to that sort of price range per cake, people want something a little bit more than kind of your standard factory recipes.
Right.
And I totally recommend the factory recipes, but you want to, you're getting buying into a different sort of tea when you get to the $1,000 category.
Yeah, totally. So stay tuned. Check us out on tdb.org. Subscribe if you want to subscribe. Trying to get to 10,000 subscribers this year. If you find this content useful, please comment below and let us know. Not only if you did find it useful or you had some suggestions for other teas in this price point, we'd love to hear them. But also, if you have any ideas about other videos that are more topical, maybe about pricing with Pu'erh or other value things or stuff like that, we really want to know.
Sure. Or even more beginner-oriented content.
Yeah.
Definitely happy to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So check us out. Do all this stuff. Send this to your dog's physiotherapist.
We haven't got a lot of physio. Peace.